That this particular location was only pulling in $15,000 while other locations were pulling in $40,000 per week. And what is still shocking is that Kemper Arena still owes $10 million on previous renovations that were done in the mid-1990s. And just last week, Genghis Grill closed its doors after operating for more than 2 years. The ground has been extremely dry in Kansas City, and officials have recently announced a burning ban in the area. Now, with the Chiefs having a rocky start, hopefully we can see some good progress for the rest of the season. I'm Tommy Kraus reporting for KMBC 9 News.
I love my job. I get to be outside most of the time. I'm barely in the office.
Bob Dideker knows a thing or two about delivering mail in the hot summer heat. With Kansas City in an excessive heat warning, this 22-year veteran of the Postal Service will also be checking on residents during his route and asking them how they are doing.
Doing all right today?
Yes.
All right. Oh, I'm fine. I'm fine. You have a good weekend.
Thank you.
On his route, customers know Dideker by his first name, which sometimes the customers wonder how he is doing in the heat.
Water, you want a cold drink, you want a Pepsi? He said, I got my van real stocked.
Bob always wears a smile on his face no matter what the temperatures are.
I just think it's an honorable profession. It's something that hopefully will keep on going through the centuries. You know, it started with Benjamin Franklin and hopefully will keep going, you know, until I'm able to retire and I'm past then.
But before the day is done, Dideker will have delivered mail to some 600 homes before his route is finished. Tommy Kraus reporting for KMBC 9 News. On Friday, July 23rd, a fire broke out at a Lenexa apartment complex near the Oak Park Mall that engulfed all 36 units in the complex and claimed the life of one of the tenants. Saturday, the Lenexa Fire Department was still battling hot spots and sorting through items that could be salvaged that were left unharmed during the fire. Many of the residents were in disbelief of all the destruction the fire had done to their homes and were there comforting one another during this tough time. Resident Danette Gamble, who lived on the first floor, was at work when the fire broke out and came looking for her cat on Saturday.
My cat, who is my companion, he's my precious cat, that he was in there and that he was going to burn up or that he was going to, you know, smoke inhalation.
Now, Lenexa Fire Department still did not know the cause of this fire and is still under investigation. One look around the Independence Center this weekend, and one might think Christmas is just around the corner.
I feel like I'm shopping on Christmas Eve.
But instead, these shoppers are here to take advantage of the tax-free holiday weekend, and that means dealing with crowds similar to the ones during the holidays.
We actually had to put our name on a list for a dressing room at one of the clothing stores and wait 20 minutes just to try on some clothes.
This may sound aggravating to some, but for this mom of four, fighting the crowds is worth the savings.
It's been pretty bad, but at the same time, it's worth it. I mean, we probably saved $100 or more today.
The electronics that we're going to look for later, that'll be a big deal. That's what we're for the tax for that.
The big deal is the shoppers will save $7 for every $100 spent.
Oh, it's a very big boost. We're very excited to have all of the shoppers come out and take advantage of the tax-free shopping.
Stephen Davis is the operations manager at the Independence Center Mall, and he says this is one of the biggest weekends where the idea is simple: no taxes.
The more you buy, the more you save.
Tommy Kraus reporting for KMBC 9 News. You've probably noticed a bin like this provided by Ripple Glass that's purple here and around the metro, where the public is free to use these bins to recycle all their glass containers, not just wine and beer bottles, but all glass containers. It's as simple as this. All you do is have to toss your bottles in the bin and Ripple Glass takes care of the rest. These glass bottles could have ended up in a landfill, but recently Kansas City residents have the option of recycling their beer and wine bottles. Boulevard Brewing Company has been producing beer for 22 years. With their introduction of Ripple Glass, recycling has become a simple task.
When we started looking at Kansas City, we realized that what was missing was the processor. Somebody that could take the glass, make it into a usable material.
And the brewing plant is where the journey of a recycled beer bottle begins. This worker is placing bottles on the line to prepare them for production. The bottles start by being thoroughly rinsed and cleaned, then they are filled with beer. Labels are then placed onto the bottles, rolled down the line, get dropped into cardboard boxes, and then they continue on to be sealed. and finally gets shipped to local retailers where the bottled beer is purchased and drank by you at homes, bars, pubs, and taverns. After a beer bottle's journey of being bottled, packaged, and then consumed, KC resident Christopher Turner uses one of the Ripple glass bins instead of his trash can.
Or taking so much for granted and wasting so much materials that, you know, I started recycling, and now it's just one of those things. It's like brushing your teeth, you know, something you do every day.
Throughout the day, trucks transport the purple bins to the Ripple Glass plant. In 2011 alone, Ripple Glass recycled so many beer bottles that if placed together, they could stretch almost halfway around the world. A couple times an hour, this worker uses a loader to move the glass into a hopper. The hopper conveys the glass into the plant at an even rate. Once inside, the conveyor belt moves under a magnet that lifts away any metal particles from the glass. This employee's mission is to pick out and toss any other remaining pieces that aren't glass. After all the foreign objects get removed, the glass is sent on a zigzag trip of conveyor belts throughout the plant. The glass is stripped of any contamination, then steadily cleaned and dried. And finally, it is made into a consistent size. The final product is sold to Owens Corning, a Kansas City, Kansas-based company that transforms it into fiberglass for your home for insulation.
And they've almost been like partners. Owens Corning's been our partner in starting this operation a little bit. And yeah, they want the glass because it saves them a lot of money, and at the same time you're using less energy, and it just makes a lot of sense.
Recycling glass in Kansas City used to be difficult, but the introduction of Ripple Glass has made it convenient for residents to recycle their beer bottles. They do not have to let the bottle's life in a landfill. Instead, the glass can be used for multiple purposes, even to make a brand new beer bottle.